regards to the MCO, and when looking into the possibilities of the students, we do know that some of our students, for example, in universities, they've been quarantined in the universities, for example. They have been there for the last 4 weeks. What's more important is that a scheduled planning for them to go back to their hometown. Because how long do you want to put them in a university, for example? So they have been there for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, for example, and there's no cluster among the university students, and we can actually screen them and they can go back to the home. But more importantly, we should not repeat the mistake in terms of home rush, for example. So at least a plan, strategic planning of how they can go back to their own hometown, etc. So I think we are doing that and together with the MKN. So that's with regards to the university student. So, and third is regards to the population base. Yes, we know that it's symptomatic, but this is a new virus, so we need to learn a lot about this new virus, the behavior of the virus, whether the response of antibody. Today, we realize that even though you have a response of antibody, in other illness or other diseases, you get protection. Here, you do not have a protection yet. So that's the reason why we realized that, asymptomatic patient, for example, we were the first to detect asymptomatic patient. As I told you, the first case, first, second, third, and fourth cases that we detected from the index case from Singapore, they were asymptomatic. But because they have a contact positive with the index case, so close contact, the chances of them positive is about 31%, 30%. So that's very high. So that's why when we screen for temperature, for example, that's under patient under investigation. That means they have symptoms, or they have a close contact or asymptomatic. But now the question is, they have no close contact and they have no symptoms. And what about asymptomatic in the community? The answer is, we don't know, unless we do a study to screen one community, for example, we test the antibody or antigen of the community, then only we can see the response. If it's antibody, then perhaps it takes about to look into the community in terms of the response. IgM respond about 5 days onwards, IgG about a week later. So I think this is the two methods to measure whether the person is been exposed. So I think this is, again, when they are asymptomatic, the question is whether can they transmit the infection to others. So again, we need to fall back on data, whether there's enough data to show that asymptomatic patient can actually transmit the disease. So this is something that, again, we have conflicting reports. But what's more important is that we do know when they have symptoms, that is the time that the infection can occur. That means they can transmit to one person to another, especially they have the symptoms of sneezing or even coughing, and etc. So that the virus load at that point of time will be the highest. Asymptomatic, perhaps they may have virus, but whether they can transmit the infection to others is still to be studied and then to be proven.